Solely designed to get you off 4546b in one piece, the Neptune Rocket is the ultimate vehicle in Subnautica's food chain. Eating up to 139 raw materials in total, this not-so-pocket rocket is only rivaled by the planet's leviathans when it comes to its appetite for consuming resources. And considering how complex designing something like this probably is, your disappearance must either be a serious news headline back home in civilization, or you must be a very important person indeed. But I suppose leaving someone to die on an ocean planet full of giant human-eating fish really wouldn't be very good for a company's image. The Neptune's design takes into account 4546b's gravity and astronomical data, and was specifically designed by Altera to be constructible with resources that can be found on the planet. The rocket itself can be adapted to use any power source that is available, so it's a good job there's plenty of penguins up north, just in case we run out of any other types of fuel. The Neptune rocket is also a very important tool in the Peeper space program, allowing for the mass transportation of Peepers into orbit, avoiding the need for individual launches and taking resources to the Peeper space station above 4546b. The Neptune rocket contains a number of helpful features for any would-be spacefarer looking to escape the planet or taking on a mission for the Peeper space program, ranging from onboard life support systems so you don't suffocate, freeze or otherwise dehydrate to death on the trip back to civilization, to storage lockers for taking back any souvenirs or knickknacks you might have gathered on your trip. Unfortunately, the rocket's life support system is only designed for one person, so I'm afraid there will be no Team Rocket blasting off today. Mr. Cuddles is going to have to stay behind. The Neptune also contains a short-range communication relay in order to send and receive messages with other nearby ships or space stations, which will be very useful for Altera when they tell you you can't land until you pay back the money you apparently owe them for your time on 4546b. The rocket also comes equipped with an orbital deflector shield for protecting you from any debris or asteroid impacts during your escape and travel home. Phew, it's a good job they thought of that one, otherwise we'd be back where we started. If you're sad to be leaving 4546b behind and can't face the traces of your time on the planet being slowly eroded away, then conveniently for you, the Neptune comes equipped with a time capsule that can be used for sending a message to anyone else stranded on 4546b in the future, or for sending Mr. Cuddles on his way if you've accidentally brought him on board. The Neptune consists of 5 separately constructed pieces, which fit together kind of like a Lego brick, quite easily when you have all the parts to hand, but not so easily when you have to find all the pieces individually in a literal ocean of potential resources. First, on your quest to leave the planet behind, you must construct the launch platform. This gives the rocket a large base in order to take off from, and is made of lead, titanium and a computer chip. It would have been pretty cool here if we had the ability to build the rocket under the water and launch it out of the ocean, but that could have resulted in getting some Reaper Leviathan chunks stuck on the front of the nose cone, which would have been pretty bad for its aerodynamics. After constructing the launch platform, the Neptune Gantry must be created in order to access the rocket once it is complete and to provide structural support during its construction, and it is made of plasteel, copper wiring and lubricants. The Gantry consists of a metal pillar and a bridge that leads towards the Neptune rocket's entrance, with a small lift being used to reach the walkway. After getting these 2 preliminary stages out of the way, it's time for the fun bit. You're ready to move on to constructing the Neptune rocket itself. The first part of the Neptune that you need to create are the iron boosters, which will allow you to escape this rock. These can be constructed using plasteel, nickel ore, aerogel and a wiring kit, and these engines will provide enough power to leave the planet's orbit and deliver you to the nearest Altera phase gate and back to civilization. The Neptune's boosters are connected to the launch pad using a number of clamps before liftoff begins, in order to avoid any balancing problems. The next part of the rocket to be constructed is the fuel reserve, which contains the primary fuel tanks that are used to power the Neptune's iron boosters. In order to create the fuel reserve, you will require plasteel, crystalline sulfur, kyanite and 2 iron power cells, as the rocket uses these power cells as its primary power source, which should give you plenty of juice to get you where you need to go. But you might want to take a couple of extra penguins with you, just in case. This second stage also provides the main body of the rocket and comes with the entrance hatch along with a number of lockers for storing items. This section also contains a ladder leading up to the Neptune's cockpit and a number of subsystem levers that must be pulled before liftoff can begin. The final section of the Neptune to be constructed is the cockpit, the creation of which requires a Cyclops shield generator for deflecting those pesky incoming objects, plasteel, some enamel glass and a computer chip. This area contains the command chair used for launching the rocket, as well as the access to the life support systems, central processing unit and the time capsule launcher. It also comes equipped with a window to give you a very cinematic view when leaving the planet. Wasn't it nice of Altera to think of that when they came up with the design for this rocket? Once the rocket has been completed, you're ready to say goodbye to 4546b for good, providing you've deactivated the quarantine enforcement platform that's destroyed the Aurora and all the other ships that have visited 4546b. Otherwise, you might not be getting very far. With the enforcement platform disabled, the last remaining task before launch is to activate the Neptune Rocket subsystems to prepare for takeoff. 3 of these can be found on the lower deck inside the fuel reserve, with a further 3 being found inside the cockpit. Once you've flicked all these switches, it's time to sit back, relax, and take in the sights as the launch process begins. Navigation of the rocket itself will be conducted by the ship's onboard AI, so don't worry if you dropped out of flight school early. Our machine overlords will handle the final details. So that's everything you need to know about the Neptune rocket. If you made it this far, it's safe to say you have truly conquered 4546b. Do you think we might see the Neptune rocket again in a future Subnautica game? Let me know in the comments below. And if you want to know if the sea truck is faster or slower than this pug, then you should click right here to find out more. The answer might just surprise you, and I'll see you over there to tell you all about it.